Hey guys, this is Comic and today I'm doing a review for Once Upon a Time. So last week I did an advanced review of Once Upon a Time, and now this week I'm doing a regular review of the show. So what happened in this episode, we get to learn a little bit more about Lancelot and King Arthur and their connection to each other. Obviously they have one. And you know, also this is very much a Snow and Prince Charming episode, because it seems like they have a fight in the beginning of the episode, disagreeing about King Arthur and their motives, and if Lancelot was telling the truth last episode that King Arthur is not a great guy. Now, first, Charming doesn't really agree with this. He thinks that King Arthur is doing the right thing. But this whole episode is really showing how dark King Arthur is, and that Lancelot was telling the truth, and he had this love story with King Arthur's wife. So that's pretty much just a lot of background information for this episode. So I guess there are two time periods. It's one of like Lancelot falling in love with the wife, and then you get to see present time. There's a lot of time periods being shown here. And then, yeah, by the end of the episode, we finally get to the present and see that Emma has recruited Merida to try to make Rumpelstiltskin brave, to pick up the sword. So, I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of progression in this episode, especially for the present of Dark Emma. If you really like Dark Emma, she's not really in this episode that much. Like I said, it's only towards the end of the episode, but at least we understand why Merida is part of this season, even though it kind of feels like a, lazy in a way. I'm like, oh, of course you're gonna use her title of her movie and say, oh, well, you have to make someone brave, and that's why you're there. And that feels like more of just an episode thing than, hey, this whole big thing that she was in the whole season. And I understand, because Merida is, kind of a popular character. I wouldn't even say totally popular, but they just want to utilize her, and they're really trying to fit her in any way possible, and they kind of do it towards the end of this episode. So did I like Charming and Snow in this episode? I don't know if I love them in this episode. I like that they did stuff, but even though most of the episode is about tricking and, thinking that they're fighting and they're not, and they end up being on the same side, and I like that portion, at the same time, I want more from them. Like, even though they utilize them, I don't know if it really showed their strengths at all. They kind of just showed the same thing they always do, is that they're very connected, and that's it. I kind of want to see more of the individual journeys. So even though they were tricking each other, it kind of would have been cool to see them on different sides for a bit longer, because we could get progression with them a bit more. And I don't really think we got that. Like, we got progression in the plot because of them, but not really progression of their characters. So hope to see a bit more of that this season, but we'll find out. And also, I'm personally not a big fan of the King Arthur story, so since this episode pretty much only focused on him, I wasn't a particular fan of it, but I guess it was needed to kind of understand more of why he was the bad guy. But yeah, the time periods felt confusing to me, because you jump to the present by the end of the episode, but most of the episode's in the past, and it gets a little confusing, like, alright, this is not Dark Emma yet, is she Dark Emma, or wait, she's not even in this episode, Lancelot's here. I thought the time circumstances in this episode were a bit confusing. But yeah, overall, I guess it's a needed episode if you're really into the Camelot stuff, but if you're more into the Dark Emma stuff, her story doesn't progress that much in this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there's links from my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. And of course, I'll be reviewing the next episode of Once Upon a Time next week. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.